Good morning and welcome to Motivational Mornings, the podcast that gets you going before you get going.
Good morning and welcome to Motivational Mornings. My name is Ryan, and as always, I'm here with my co-host Vivi. And today we're going to discuss the book Mindset by Dr. Carol Dweck. So, Dr. Carol Dweck is an American psychologist who is taught at universities such as Columbia, Harvard, and Stanford. Now, one of the main topics in the book Mindset is how people can have two different types of mindsets. There's what is called a fixed mindset, and there's what's called a growth mindset. A fixed mindset means that a person believes that things such as abilities or intelligence are fixed or static. They can't change. Whatever you were born with, that's what you get. Whereas a growth mindset believes that abilities or things such as intelligence actually change and can grow depending on how much work you put into them. Let me give you a quick example of this just to make it a bit more clear. So take someone who isn't very good at math. Maybe in school they never did well on math tests, and maybe they're always near the bottom of the class. Well, someone with a fixed mindset would have the belief that they will always be bad at math. And that's just something they need to accept. They're just bad at math. It's just one of the things they're not good at. On the other hand, someone with a growth mindset would look at it differently. They would believe that if they started studying either harder, more often, maybe in a different way than they're currently doing, that they would actually be able to increase their abilities in math. So you can see how there's two very different mindsets here, and that's what this book talks about. Fixed mindsets, they tend to, the way they tend to rationalize this is they tend to blame things on external factors outside of their control. Things they can't change, and that really demotivates them to really try and grow and improve. Where on the other hand, the growth mindset tends to look at internal factors that they can control, and that's the reason why their maybe performance or abilities isn't up to what they want. So this motivates them to try and improve because they believe that these are things that can actually be changed.
And going off of the point where people who think that things can be changed versus people who don't, Dr. Dweck also talks about how there's a difference that she's noted between exceptional people who've done certain things in their life and, just average people who she's come in contact with in terms of the growth versus the fixed mind state. Now, she goes on to say how exceptional people tend to be very aware of their strengths and weaknesses, and then they take action based on these in the future. So, for example, let's say maybe you were working in an entrepreneur and you noticed that all your time was going towards some operation stuff, but then maybe why don't you just hire someone to help you with that instead of trying to do everything yourself? She also adds that exceptional people are also motivated by failure and a growth mind state. So Ryan already explained what a growth mind state was, but it pretty much just means always progressing to become a better version of yourself, regardless on the current outcome that you're in, regardless if you're successful or not successful. Which I think that's a really, really important thing. She also notes that people sometimes take that over the top and say, oh, I don't do growth mindset with everything, or I'm not a growth mindset person with everything, so do I qualify for that? She says, the growth mindset doesn't mean that everything can be changed or should be changed. Within your own personality and desires, for example, if something isn't harmful to you or to the situation at hand, doesn't necessarily need to be changed all the time. So you can still very much be part of the growth mind state of progressing forward without changing absolutely everything. And I like that because it clearly tells me that if something isn't harmful, then why change it? Another thing that she talks about is how to properly praise people. Now, Carol goes into a huge subsection on how people's kids are raised and the difference between growth mindset and fixed mindset kids and how they can challenge themselves and all that. But I'm not going to get super into those details. But what I will get into is how she talks about praising people and how you should do it to foster their growth mindset. She says, praise people for their efforts and not on their talents. This is according to a lot of the research that she has done, and she does not want to confuse people's talents with their ability to grow and continuously get better. When you praise people's talents, this often limits people and kids all the way to their adulthood, and it sticks them into these safety zones so they don't experiment, try to be bigger, and try new and bolder things. But when you foster that growth mindset and tell people, hey, you tried really hard there and you did a really good job, well, that actually fosters their ability to want to get better and grow. And it has absolutely zero relevance to where their talents are actually at the current standpoint.
So how do the different mindsets impact people? This book mentions a study done on school children. The researchers sorted out the children by mindset, and they gave them a quiz. Now, both the fixed and the growth mindset students did well in this quiz. Some of the students were told they were smart, and the fixed mindset students agreed, while some of the other students were told they studied really hard, or they must have studied really hard on this quiz to do well. So you can see how they're framing it into growth mindset and a fixed mindset. After this, the students were offered a really hard quiz, and most of them did poorly on it as it was really difficult. Then the researchers talked to them again. This is where it gets interesting. The students that had the fixed mindset, they didn't believe they're smart anymore, which is crazy because just recently they took another easier quiz, and at that time they thought they were smart. So you can see how this quiz affected their confidence and their belief, because they believe this quiz defined them because they can't get better from it. On the other hand, the growth mindset students that did poorly, they were a lot more encouraged, almost excited, because they found it super challenging, and they were really excited to start practicing because they wanted to see if they were able to eventually get better, were able to do better on this quiz. So the last thing, now students were offered a choice of a third quiz, and it was either an easy quiz or a hard quiz. As I'm sure you can guess, the growth mindset students, they tended to choose the harder quiz, saying that they wanted the challenge and they were excited by the challenge. The fixed mindset kids tended to choose the easier quiz, the quiz they were more comfortable with. So you can see just from the study how the different mindsets impact different people. You can see how important the mindset can be. Fixed mindsets are less likely to take on challenges, and because of that are maybe less likely to continue to grow, as they don't see that the work is actually going to get them anywhere. Whereas the growth mindset, they're more likely to take on challenges as they're excited to what they can become. And as Vivi's discussed earlier, there's no one side. So some people are fixed in one area, where maybe their growth mindset in another area. Whereas, for example, maybe they believe intelligence, they can improve and grow, where they believe, on the other hand, athletic abilities, those are fixed. Also, you can actually change your mindset if you focus on them. So for instance, say you have a fixed mindset on a certain area in your life, it can be changed to a growth mindset as long as you're consciously thinking about it and really focusing on how things such as effort and learning will actually increase your abilities in whatever area you want to get better at. That wraps up today's episode of Motivational Mornings. If you want to hear more about this book, Mindset, you can go to audibletrial.com/motivational mornings to get a free trial of Audible and one free copy of an audiobook, which can be this book, Mindset. And then you can hear this book in more detail. Thanks for listening, guys, and have a great day.